Okay. State of possible, Massachusetts, but also state of possible for healthcare. And what does it mean? I've been thinking about it, as we all do. Where are we going as the industry, as people, as humanity moving forward? Isaac Asimov said this very cool thing a while back when he said, none of the decisions that we are making today shall happen when we take into account only the world as it is today, but we have to take into account the world as it will be tomorrow. And that's a pretty tricky statement. How do you plan and imagine the future already accounting for the future in your planning? I think that's tricky. You need additional tools, and technology is the bridge that allows us to do so. Technology makes our ability to help patients more than ever opportunistic. Today, we are more than ever agile with the way we are developing medications for the patients. We are much more than ever connected. And very importantly, technology enables us to make amazing partnerships, ones of which we couldn't think before. In Takeda, the partnerships are no longer just about one pharma working with another pharma, or occasionally a pharma working with an academic institution or a set of KOLs. Our new partners include many tech companies, Connexa Health, Mindstrong. We are working with MIT Media Lab on a space healthcare initiatives. What can we learn from Elon Musk? What can we learn from NASA on the topic of remote diagnostics? We also partner up with companies like IDEO and digital ventures to really understand how to increase our thinking, how to make us think differently. And this is what technology allows us to do. But the biggest focus for Takeda and the biggest thing that technology allows us to do is to become much more patient-centric. And patient-centric is the key focus for everyone in Takeda, and technology is the key enabler. 2 years ago, we have created a patient centricity group. 2 years ago, this small group was focused on making sure that each and every of our clinical teams and commercial teams understand and engage with patients from the very, very early process of development. Our projects now, every target product profile including patient view and patient's value. We're not longer focusing on the values that are relevant just to physician or to us as scientists. Increase of 10% is something doesn't necessarily translate into something that's relevant to the patient. So we want to make sure that their voice is heard. We also ask our team to include patient voice in our asset strategy document. We have connected now many teams and many patients using a digital platform that our IT group is building to collect the insights and to continuously learn using things like artificial intelligence as machine learning to dig through these insights and continuously provide our teams with ability to reflect on them and make sure that the value we deliver to them is relevant. And that clinical program we are running actually address the needs both of industry, health, medical society, but first and foremost people, more so than patients. If you think about clinical programs, there's another tool and asset that we are building that uses artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Imagine that taking the clinical trial protocol and presenting it to the patient in a way that they can understand it. We are building a lexicon delivered digitally and engine that allows us to take this document within a few hours, have a document that is understandable to patients at different level of health literacy. So imagine if I go into clinical study, I typically see this long list of inclusion and exclusion criteria, some of which I cannot understand. Now having it in a digital manner delivered to a patient, delivered to the sites, delivered to physician in a digital format, and also provide them with a tool that helps them coordinate all the logistics and speaks to them the way they want to be spoken to. This is tremendous. It helps the patient. We are learning, they're appreciating it so much. Imagine that this digital assistant can not only help them understand the processes, but coordinates all the logistics, coordinates the fact that you have to take a medication tomorrow or that you have to go to the site and helps you order Uber or another tool. Now imagine if we move it forward that one day you're going to buy a medication and the label will not be written in this long paper form, but again will be digitally produced and read to you, but something you have on your phone. This is what we are building, and this is where we are going. And I ask you to imagine, but I really ask you to look, because this is a product that we as Takeda are fully committed to, together with our partners, and will be launching within the next couple of months. Imagine another thing. Imagine pediatric patients and the way you can collect their outcomes, their input into disease and medical developments. It's not very easy, but we, together with Media Lab and the Affective Computer Group, have built a video game that allows kids to stay engaged for over a year. This data will be published within the next month, and keep them engaged and encourages them to share with us what do they go through. And that's really powerful. Now, when I see talking and working and seeing through patients' eyes, I don't mean by Google Glass that I know we used in the past, but Google Glass was clunky and it was not very comfortable. But first and foremost, with only accessible to a few. Digital technologies, platform, wearables that we have now, and the ones that we as pharma believe should be used in clinical research and the commercial movements, should be the ones that are accessible to masses, not the ones that are accessible to few. In Takeda, we partner up with Connexa Health in 2016, and we are running studies that from the very beginning deploy wearable devices, designing them, deploying, analyzing the data, and then feeding the way we are describing novel endpoints. Of a few studies, in Friedreich ataxia, we're looking at the muscular diseases, muscular novel endpoints. How can we track changes in velocity of patient movement? We are looking at an oncology study with elderly patients when we're using wearable to connect fatigue and to quantify fatigue. We're trying to see the relationship within the minority status between patient adherence and their activity level and sleep on a daily basis. Together with Mindstrong, one of our newer partners, we are using mobile devices to connect 700 data points by using your voice speech when you conduct the calls, by analyzing how often do you make the calls, at what time, how often do you speak, what's the speed of your speech. Imagine what we can learn from all these data points about the patients with neurological diseases, and this is where this study is going. We have also other studies looking at the safety and comparability of the consumer and medical grade device. And this data are the data we never imagined having. So now if we project it forward, the opportunities are truly endless. That's why we created Data Science Institute that helps us not only to understand how we manage the multiple data sources, but also how do we approach it from regulatory, legal compliance. And while we're putting all this effort, we are not naive. The data we are getting from all these sources, the sensors, the wearable, the information is coming from social media. It's just the beginning of where we can be. If we look at other industries, our 1,000 genomes that we can dig into is really very little piece of what cybersecurity analysts are getting. They're getting 20,000 of them per second of malware attacks data that they can analyze to develop counter intelligence on that. So comparatively, we are still crawling, but we are building together as Takeda with our partners here in Massachusetts a state of true possibility. And a state where, to quote Isaac Asimov once again, you know, there was a story of a pilot in my favorite read by him, The Final Question, when a pilot asked the computer a question about future of human race, and the computer said, well, no sufficient data are available. I personally, and I think all of my colleagues in Takeda firmly believe that this is not the answer we will be getting very soon when we ask about diagnosis, potential treatment, and the way we should be conversing with patients. So I think that's the state of possible for all of us working together. Thank you.